I was listening to the story about, it was a story of a family in Washington, and the little boy called the Bigfoot the Cowboy Man. And he had, apparently it had made an effort to steal this kid. And it hit me. My children were in that playpen behind me with nothing but a mosquito net over them. It could have crept up behind me and taken both of my children, and I wouldn't have known.
Father just got like a Mustang or something from Wyoming, okay? He had it out in the corral because he couldn't put it in the barn in the stalls with the other horses. It would kick and made all the other horses nervous. Had a Seminole Indian working the horse, trying to break it every day. So they had it out in the corral. This skunk ape snuck up behind this horse and grabbed it on its hind quarters. This particular horse kicks out, jumps over the corral, runs into the pasture, to get away. At this point, the rancher's out there just blasted away with the 30-30. Skunk ape runs into the swamp.
I went up there one day after that, or 2 days after that. I went up there and sat in the silence up there, and I'm telling you, man, it was free. It was crazy. There was a crazy vibe up there still. I did what I could to kind of get things under control, but I told her, I said, you need to get off this property. I feel like no matter how strong you are, it's almost like standing in the ocean. You can't stand still without moving your feet. You're going to get knocked over eventually, no matter how strong, whatever. You can't withstand a barrage of weird spiritual energy.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Paranormal Odyssey. I am your host, Wayne, joined, as always, by my partner in crime, Miss Tiffany. What's up, ma'am? How you doing?
Not too much. I'm doing good. Had a busy day. Yeah, busy Saturday.
Had a busy day. You had a busy Tuesday last week as well. You kicked it solo with the Squatch Watchers and did an amazing job by yourself. People don't understand how difficult it is to do this by yourself, keeping up with the chat and just running everything by yourself. That's why we added you and Lisa before you to get us some help.
Yes.
It's difficult to do by yourself, but you handled it superbly, and I wanted to thank you for that.
Of course. And I do apologize for my cringiness at the beginning. I had this whole script in my head, and I was so freaking excited because I'm like, oh, it's my friends. Because we haven't interacted like that for 2 years. We'll talk on Messenger, but that's it. So I let the excitement take over, and yeah,
you were excited, and they are friends of yours. You have a bit of a history with them, but they're also widely successful.
Yes.
Yes. I hated that I missed that episode. For those of you that don't know, I spent last week, I literally got home like 2 hours ago from Panama City. We took Scarlett down there for her birthday, which was Tuesday. She turned 3. And so Tuesday night was the episode of with the Squatch Watchers, and they've got like 115,000 subscribers on YouTube. I mean, they're huge. Yes. This is a huge show, and I wanted to be a part of it. It's just that the timing wasn't great, but you did a great job. You really did. I hate that I missed it with those guys, but thank you so much for taking the ball and running with it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I love talking to them, and they're just, and I told Naomi, I said, I don't know how many people are going to be in here, because I was just on their live night before last, and there was 202 people in there. So I'm like, and she's like, just send me the link, and if you need me, I'll come in. So I was thankful for that, but no, it was really good. And we could have kept going because they have Dogman stuff. They have Skinwalker stuff. I mean, but we're trying to line up their schedule with our schedule to get them to come back so you can be on with them.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, we're working on that.
That would be
really I do think about you. Yeah.
Sometimes.
No, you're welcome.
But yeah. Right. let's pay some bills
Okay.
if you want to. Let me get this banner going real quick.
Yes, and you guys notice you can see me a lot clearer. You can see all my ish in the back there. I get it. But we just did an upgrade on my whole. Yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, she says all that and then she freezes, or maybe
I
I
didn't.
froze.
You froze.
I don't know. Yeah, it was weird. But yeah, you sent me a picture of the new studio slash office, and it looks good in there. You are stepping it up.
Yeah, well, and I had to get a new chair, and I laughed so hard because I'm like, just trying to be like Wayne, needing a new chair. But really, the gray one that I had, we've had it for like decades, and a spring came up in the bottom of it. So on
Oh
Tuesday's show,
Lord.
you can see me. Yes, you can see me shifting in the seat on Tuesday's show. That is why there's a spring.
Well, some of you may have noticed I have upgraded my chair, and you can't see it obviously, but how you might have noticed is I don't squirm as much. My ass is a lot more comfortable now because I was sitting on like this bar stool type thing because my desk is high and I needed something higher, to make me level. So I went and got this new chair that sits a little bit higher. So
Yeah.
that's why it's been I haven't been squirming as much. My ass is a lot more comfortable. Thank you.
And you sprung the money on more than just a little donut to sit on.
There you go. Before we pay the bills, let's mention the poll question real quick. Tonight's poll question is: are Sasquatch more attracted to women and children? Right now, there are 13 votes. Overwhelmingly, 92% of you say yes, that you believe Sasquatch are more attracted to women and children. And I can't vote, so if I could vote, that would be another one for yes. What do you think?
I would agree. I think so. And I think it's that. I think with the female squatches, I think it's the maternal instinct in them with the kids. And I mean, the male squatches, I mean,
Yeah, you
no
know what they're
offense, but if they
they're
think
trying to
like a
get they're trying to get the booty.
man, that
That's
Bigfoot
what they're
booty.
thinking about. That human booty. They're tired of that Bigfoot booty. They need the human booty.
We've slept with you long enough. We want them humans. I love our after hours show.
Yeah. But we've got Miss Marianne backstage. We will get her to weigh in on her opinion when she gets out here. And again, guys, we're going to get to paying the bills in a second. But our guest tonight, Marianne, is awesome. She is a member of the BFRO. She's an investigator. She also she leads the investigations out in Missouri. Not only that, but she puts on a festival that your boy here, myself, and Mr. Brian King Sharp are going to be speaking at later this year in September. So I'm very, very excited to get her out here in just a second. But before she gets here, I want to ask everyone, if you are new to the program, you're hanging out with us for the first time tonight, please hit that subscribe button. Tell your family, tell your friends, help us to continue to grow the show. We're definitely heading in the right direction, but we could use your help. So please hit that subscribe button.
And if you would like to be on with Wayne and myself, you can reach out to both of us, Wayne at paranormalworldproductions.com, or me, Tiffany at paranormalworldproductions.com. And we are very quickly inching into starting to book for August. So, but do not despair. We will always get you in here. Just reach out to one of the two of us.
Paranormalworldproductions.com is our website. You can head over there and check out all of the shows: Sasquatch Odyssey, That Bigfoot Podcast, Paranormal Odyssey, Basement Hangout, Kentucky X Files, True Crime Odyssey. There's like 6 or 7 shows that Paranormal World Productions covers, or the studio shares. head to that website. You can check every one of them out. You can pick up some merch. I know a few people have been buying some Paranormal Odyssey shirts, been getting some pictures, and we appreciate that. But yeah, head over to paranormalworldproductions.com.
And if you have questions, please feel free to bring them to us and we will pull them down, put them in our highlighted area, and do a rapid fire question answer session at the end of the show. Just put them in all capital letters, please.
Yes. And lastly, before we get to our guest, we are almost there, guys. We are inching so close to filling up those. I'll put the wrong thing up there. Sorry about that. I'll share that other one in a minute. But our members only. Quit laughing at me, woman.
Sorry.
We're all human.
I know. And you haven't been here for a week. It's fine.
Exactly. I'm rusty. Anyway.
Shoot, I didn't even put this up last week. I said it at the end, but I didn't put the picture up.
Our members only. We are doing a giveaway. The first 50 people that sign up, and like I said, we are so close. We're just a couple people away from being able to do this giveaway. We are going to put all those names into a list, do a drawing, and that person will win a Yeti lunchbox, an autographed copy of one of Miss Naoma Finn's books, an autographed copy of The Unfamiliars, written by Tiffany. Newly added, an autographed copy of Brian King Sharp's book. And you will also get your choice of a Paranormal Odyssey t-shirt, your size, color, all that good stuff. But you will win all of that. All you have to do is pay the $1.99 a month fee that it costs to become a member. So if you have not done that yet, please do it. We're only a few people away from doing this giveaway. We want to get it over with. We've been talking about it for way too long. So yeah, help us out. Become a member.
Yes.
All right, we have taken way too long. We have gone over our 10 minutes that we usually take to get our guest out. Do you have anything else before we get to her?
Nope, I am good to go, bro.
All right, like I said earlier, our guest is Miss Marianne. She's backstage waiting patiently to get out here and share some of her experiences. She is a member of the BFRO. She leads the expeditions in Missouri. She also handles the Bigfoot Festival out there, or Bigfoot Conference, I'm sorry, in Missouri. And she's going to come on and talk about all of that as well as some of her experiences. And we are very happy to have Miss Mary Ann. Let's welcome her.
Hi,
There she is.
guys.
How you doing, ma'am?
I'm good. I'm good.
Good. Thank you so very much for taking the time to come and hang out with us tonight on our after hours show. I've been excited about this one for a while because I am going to be speaking at the event that you are hosting here in September. And
Yes,
I
you
can't
are.
wait. Can't wait to be out there.
I can't wait either. I think we're going to have a really good time.
Yeah, it's not just a conference that you do, but you also do a camp out afterward. Tell us before we get going. I'm
Correct.
going to give you a chance to talk about your start and everything, but tell us a little bit about that camp out, because I know that you're looking for people to go out there with this. So what exactly are you doing as far as that camp out is concerned?
Okay, so what we're doing, the first year, this is our third year. The first year, we strictly just started with a one-day conference. The second year, we did a camp out for a few days ahead of time, and then we had our conference. And we had a sighting. We had a Bigfoot come through camp the very last night of our camp out. And I was so freaking worn out from the conference, the camp out, that I missed it. So this year we're doing the conference first. years because I'm not missing him this year. We go out on private property that has had a lot of activity. And we had all kinds of things happen last year. But so this year, what we're going to do is on Saturday, our conference is going to be from 9 to 5. And then after the conference, we are going to leave directly and go out and camp. And we will be camping Saturday through Wednesday morning. And it's private property. It is, primitive camping. There's not a whole lot out there except the big guys. So it's fun. It's fun. The people have a good time. That part of it is still currently open. We take roughly 30 people out with us. So that's something that still, I have a few openings left to camp. And so what that means is you have to bring all your camping stuff, except for you, Wayne. I'm going to provide yours for you. But everybody needs to bring their, all their camping supplies, and you get to come out with us. We feed you. I have two amazing cook ladies, which one is in here with us tonight. Cindy Bailey is one of my cook ladies. And we feed you. We take care of you. We've got daytime stuff. We go out and scout with nighttime things. We're all over. I'm currently trying to get us. There's a neighbor out there that has over 1,000 acres that I'm trying to get us on for that also, because a lot of these people in this area have had things happen and they're just kind of hush hush about it. They know they're there. They don't make it known publicly. But, we've already got one neighbor that's willing to let us go onto his property, the gentleman that lets us camp on his property, and hopefully the neighbor that has like 1,000 acres will let us go on his property. So that's kind of the.
Yeah. As of right now, Marianne, how much land do you have access to for this camp out?
I believe the gentleman where we camp, he has 60 acres. And then the gentleman that we were speaking with the other day, he has like 40. And then the one that we are trying to get on, he has 1,000 acres. So it's, yeah. And he has taken and cut trails all through his land that his side-by-side can get through. So it's not like you're out there just bushwhacking. There's some decent places to walk, but they've all had things happen out there. They've not heard a lot, but they've had just odd things happen. The gentleman that moved out there, I believe he moved out there about 5 years ago. When they would go out and spend the weekends there, that's how they started. And they would get rocks thrown on top of the roof of their house, and it had a metal roof. So they would hear them. They've seen things. They've heard a few things. Actually, last year when we were camping, so a couple of days before we got there, the gentleman had bought a couple of those flats of eggs. What are they, come 18 or 24 or something in those big flats? Mm-hmm. He bought 2 flats of eggs and brought them home because his son and daughter-in-law live in a house there also. And he brought home eggs for him, and the son was busy, and he said, just put them on my porch. I'll take them in. The son forgot to take the eggs in. He comes back out the next morning, and the top flat of eggs is completely gone. The bottom flat is not bothered. There's not anything broken. And there's no, there's not eggs strewn everywhere. They can't figure out where the eggs went, right? So a couple of days after we get out there and start camping, up the road, just a little ways, like maybe 1/8 of a mile, is the neighbor. And the flat ends up in his yard with one whole row of eggs not touched. And he's trying to tell us that the dog did it. And it's like, yeah, no. If you've ever tried to pick up a flat of eggs, you have to have hands to do that. And if the
Yeah.
coons got into it, they're going to make a mess. Eggs are going to be everywhere. There were no eggs in his yard, but up the road, the flat's there with one row of eggs left perfectly. So,
That's crazy.
you know, yeah, exactly. That's kind of what we were thinking too. That's something that can pick that flat up and walk away with it,
Yeah.
and not in its mouth either.
Yeah.
So that
So
area
this
it's real active.
is it Springfield, Missouri, where it's located?
Springfield is where we are having the conference this year. Yes.
Okay. And if you don't want to give any more information about the camp out, I understand that completely. But
We don't give a whole lot out on that because it is private property. And I don't want people showing up in this poor guy's, backyard, tramping around, we don't even tell our campers. It's like, you're going to follow us out there and you're going to stay
yeah,
put. And then when you leave type deal. And it's just for his privacy. We just don't want people out there bothering him,
absolutely.
all the time.
Well, I can tell you and everybody, and I've said it many times, the investigation that Lori Wade invited me on in Tennessee was amazing. I had such such a good time. I didn't personally have an experience. I heard some whistles. I heard a couple of things that were intriguing, but even though I didn't, it was still such a good time getting to hang out with so many like-minded people. The food that she had that provided for us at every meal was amazing. It is so much fun, guys. If you are interested in Bigfoot, even if you don't have any aspirations of becoming an investigator or looking into Bigfoot or anything like that, if you're interested and you just want to see what it's like, I cannot promote it. I cannot talk about it, push it enough. It is so much fun. You will meet friends. I've got friends that I met on that investigation that I still talk to and it's just a huge community.
It is.
I can't say enough awesome stuff about it, but what you guys do, and if it's anything like Lori's trip, it's going to be amazing. And guys, if you're in the area, take advantage of it. I'm telling you.
We try. I aspire to be like Lori because I know she does a phenomenal job. And that's what we're all about. It's like I have friends that I met on my very first BFRO expedition that have become some of my best friends. I mean, the people you meet are great because you can talk to them about this crazy thing that we're out here doing, and most of them have done some of the crazy crap we've all done. So it's great. It's like you actually have a whole bunch of people that are like-minded and they all become your friends, and they're always like, hey, if you're in this state, come see me. And hey, come here, come there. And it's great. We've got friends all over the place now. It's wonderful.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk a little bit about you, Marianne. What got you started in this crazy topic, this obscene, crazy subject of these giant, hairy ape people running around in the woods? What piqued your interest? What got you going?
I've always been interested since I was a little kid. In the summertime, I grew up in a very, very small town. And when it would just get ungodly hot, in the summer, my mom worked downtown and the library was just across the street from where she worked. I'd go spend, the afternoons in there with the books that had Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, anything like that. Vampires, witches, werewolves, you name it, all the good stuff. That was always what I was drawn to. And then, I was always interested, and probably for years, I was an armchair researcher because I watched everything. And if it was a rerun, I watched it again. I can't tell you how many times, like Monster Quest and things like that. Love that stuff. Would watch it, just over and over and over. But in 2019, it was brought to my attention that there were expeditions in the state of Missouri, and I didn't realize it. I don't know how I didn't, but I thought it was, a West Coast thing. So after researching it a little bit, I came home one night, looked at my husband. I said, I want to go Bigfoot hunting. And he's like, excuse me, you want to do what? And I said, yeah, they do them here in the state of Missouri. We can go camp, And so he kind of begrudgingly agreed. And we went on our first BFRO expedition. Now, my sons thought I'd lost my mind. They were like, you're going to do what with people you don't know? Excuse me? And so when we were pulling into camp that day, I looked at my husband. I said, okay, this is either going to be the greatest thing that ever happened to us, or these are a bunch of nuts and we're going to figure out real quick. And needless to say, it's been the greatest thing that's ever happened. That was our first expedition, and we went out the first night. And I mean, I really didn't know what to expect. I'm just doing what I'm told at this point. So it was our first expedition, first night out, and it's a full moon. And the gentleman that's leading it is like, oh yeah, well, generally you don't see these things on a full moon. And my snarkiness, I'm thinking to myself, then what are we doing out here on a full moon if you don't see them on a full moon? But I was polite, kept that to myself. So we had been to 2 or 3 places. All the groups met back up, and we ended up in this area, and all of us got out and we divided back up into our little group. So I think each group had about 10 people in it, and our group headed down this road, and we get to a spot, and the guy's like, hey, let's just step off in here. So we walked back a little bit. He's like, let's sit down, let's just sit down and listen, see if we hear anything, see if anything's going on, right? So we sat down, and I was sitting there watching this girl. She was completely camoed out. And I kept thinking, wow, because to me, camo was kind of, I don't know, I would laugh at people. But she's sitting there. She's got camo on from head to toe, and she's got a hoodie on, and she pulls that hoodie over her head, and you look away, and when you look back, you barely can see her. And I thought, okay, well, I've just been a fool, because obviously camo works. And I'm sitting there kind of paying attention to her, and I can hear the guys in the group, and they're talking, and they're discussing how many of us are in the group at this point. And they're trying to decide who's sitting where. And they finally come to the conclusion, there's one too many of us sitting around in this area. And they get super excited, and they jump up and move toward what they thought was the odd person out. And it basically rolls over the berm and takes off and's gone. Well, at this point, everybody's standing up, facing the direction of what's just happened. And so we're listening to them talk about what they saw, what they, and my husband and I, and there was a girl that was a little bit younger with us, and she was standing next to me, and we're just standing back because we didn't see any of this. We were kind of the farther group, farthest end of the group. So we're just standing there listening, watching, and we start to hear this slapping sound behind us. And this little girl kind of looked at me. Her eyes were huge. I mean, she had no idea what it was. And I kind of looked at my husband like, do you hear, and he's like nodding his head going, yeah, I hear it too. And so at that point, I turned around and I took about 3 or 4 steps toward that direction just to see. And it was at that point that the thing, I don't know, it's like 25 yards maybe, steps out. And it's just standing there like, here I am. Now, it was a full moon, and the moon was directly overhead. So it's like you couldn't see the details of the face, but all you can see is this massive figure standing out there, upright, 2 feet, it's standing on one side of the tree, stands there for a couple of seconds, and then steps over and steps out completely from the other side of the tree. It's not doing like the tree peeking. It was full body standing outside of that. And it was more like it wanted us to pay attention to it and not the small, because we came to the conclusion the one that was sitting there was a small one, a juvenile. And this one was making sure that we saw it. So at this point, my husband calls over the gentleman that's leading the expedition and says, hey, you probably want to come over here. Well, he was so excited from what they had saw that I never could get him to really focus and pay attention to where this one was at. And as I'm trying to do this, we start to hear some noise, and there's another one. You can't see it, but you can hear it moving out there. So at this point, he's like, okay, that's it. We're being surrounded. We're out of here. And I'm going, no, this is what we came for. I don't want to go anywhere. Well, basically, they told me they were going to drag me out of the woods if I did not go.
Oh my God. That's what you're there for.
Right? That's what I was saying. I'm like, this is what we're there for. So we walk out. And as we are walking out, because I'm trying to like lollygag and be the last one, and they're not having any part of that. They're ushering me out. And, but you can hear it pacing us in the woods, it's following us out. So we get back out to the road. And as we start up the road, one of our other groups that we were with was up the road from us. And they were standing up their Thurman. And they said about the time we got up there, they're like, hey, you guys left somebody down there in the road. And we're like, yeah, no, we've already had this conversation. We didn't leave anybody. And they're like, are you sure? Well, yeah, we're sure. So they get to looking at it, and there's this massive figure standing in the road watching us walk away from it.
Oh my God.
So they send the one of the biggest guys back down there to do a comparison. And yeah, he doesn't even compare to how big it was. So the next day we go back to this area. We found a footprint. Now it was in a pretty good mud hole, and a gentleman did try to cast it, but there was so much water in it that it just didn't cast well. But I've got pictures of it. But so we went back to the area that we were at, and there was a small berm around one side of it. There's a big down tree on one side of it. Well, when I stood up on the berm and turned around and looked, the area where we had been sitting was completely matted down. It looked like this huge bedding area. And if you turned around and looked on the other side, you'd see all these saplings all over the forest floor, but they weren't in this area. So, we're like, did we walk into where they sleep or hang out or what? We just didn't know exactly what we had walked into. But so, yeah, first time I ever go on an expedition, the first night I'm on an expedition, I have a Class A sighting. I was hooked, and I've been doing it ever since.
There are people that have been doing this for years, including myself, that haven't had a Class A sighting. And you had one on your first night.
Yeah. First night, had no clue what I'm doing. And boom, there it was. So, yeah, I'm hooked.
It's not, where we're doing this camp out, that's not the same area where this happened, right?
No, but it's really, as the crow flies, not that far. Okay. We have here in Missouri, we have the Mark Twain National Forest, and I swear it covers half of the bottom part of the state. And there are a lot of sightings in the Mark Twain National Forest.
Wow. Okay.
It's just a very active area.
All right, Marianne, I'm sure this is a question that a lot of people have, because I have the same question, and I've been talked to a little bit about it. But if you don't mind, anyone out there that is interested in joining the BFRO and becoming an investigator, what is the process?
Okay, so normally you have to have another BFRO investigator basically sponsor you in. And what that basically means is, you know what you're doing. You've been out on expeditions. You've spent time in the woods. You know, not only are you interested, but you're putting the time in. You've got boots on the ground, that kind of stuff. You know, we've got some people that they like to go out and just record. Some people are trackers. Some people just want to cast. You know, there's a lot of specialty niches in it. But the first and foremost is you really need somebody that knows. You need to know somebody in the BFRO, basically, and spend some time with them. And once they are like, okay, you know what you're doing, then, you know, they'll sponsor you in, and then you'll be able to get on and look at the reports in your area or your state, you know, however you're wanting to do it. And you can investigate those. You'll be able to go on expedition. You'll even be able to help on the expeditions if you want to.
Okay, so is there like a minimum amount of expeditions that you have to go on?
No. If it's something, what I would tell people, if it's something you're really interested in doing, get in touch with, you know, the BFRO in your state. You can go on to the bfro.net, I believe it is, the BFRO website, and reach out to Caroline and ask her, you know, who's doing the expeditions in the state that you're in. And that way, and a lot of times those expeditions are already up on the page. Now we don't have expeditions going in every state yet, but you can go and look and see if there's one. If there's not one, reach out to Caroline and she can tell you, you know, who's active in that area that you might be able to go out and do some training with, you know, just see what they're doing and what it's all about.
Okay. And to your knowledge, are there any states that don't have a BFRO?
Well, I think we have investigators in every state. It's just some states don't have people leading expeditions. So like Oklahoma and Arkansas currently don't have any expeditions. So Miss Overachiever here has asked if she could lead those in Arkansas and Oklahoma. Not that I don't have enough to do, but going forward, we're going to be trying to do expeditions in Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Missouri starting next year. So yeah, it's like you just have to have the people that want to do it.
Arkansas and Oklahoma, I mean, especially Oklahoma, it seems like there shouldn't be any problem getting people out there.
You would think, but it's, I don't know, you know, I can't speak to why they aren't doing it. I don't know if people do it for a while, get burned out, move on, you know, that kind of deal. But yeah, there hasn't been for several years any BFRO expeditions in Oklahoma and Arkansas. So we're hoping to change that.
Yeah, I mean, because it's a great area.
Mm-hmm. Oh, both of them have all kinds of activity. I mean, there's just all kinds of stuff going on.
I just don't understand that. But we'll move on. Some of the Marianne, can you talk about some other experiences that have happened on some of the expeditions that you've been a part of?
I can, yes. So that experience was the very first night. The second night we went to a different area, and you know, the areas that you go into sometimes, like this one was a dirt road that was just slightly larger than the vehicles, that we're driving down. And I mean, they're in the middle of the boonies. So there, there's no lights, there's no street lights, there's nothing like that. Maybe the houses that you passed 5 miles back has a pole light, but that's it, right? So we're following this gentleman, and I think there's like 3 vehicles. And all of a sudden he just like pulls off in this wide spot. And so everybody pulls in, and I'm thinking, I don't want to get out here. I immediately did not like the spot, right? And I'm not like that. I'm a country girl. I don't have a problem being in the woods at night. It's no big deal. And everybody starts getting out, and I'm thinking, okay, all right, I got to get out. I'm not going to get left behind, and I'm not going to cause a scene. So I get out, and we're walking down the road. And normally I don't have a problem being on the side of the road. I don't have a problem being in the back. I don't have a problem, whatever, right? I was about to crawl up my husband's back. I did not want to be in the back. I did not want to be on the side. I felt like something was going to reach out and grab me. And I'm trying to walk along and not lose my shit, because that's exactly how I felt. And so I'm walking along, and we're walking down this road, and all of a sudden it's gone. And I thought, okay, I'm good. I can deal with this now. We walk down the road a little ways, and he goes, okay, let's walk over here. And here we go again. We're jumping off into the woods, right? We walk down in the woods a little ways. He's like, let's sit down again. It's like, holy crap. Okay. So we're sitting there, and he's having a discussion with one of the ladies about this light. Well, it was the moon coming up, and she was arguing with him that it was something else. But anyway, they're having this go on. And I'm sitting there, and my husband, he's leaned up against a tree. And as we're sitting there, these 3 little lights pop up at my feet. And they're about the size of maybe a ping pong ball. And they're like milling around about 6 inches off the ground in front of my feet. Wow. And he's looking at me like, am I seeing that? And I just kind of, nodded to him like, yeah. And nobody else saw them, because they weren't like sitting right with us. We weren't like right in the group. We were kind of just off a little bit. But yeah, these lights pop up at my feet, and they're just like milling around down there in front of my feet for, I don't know, we watched them probably 10, 15 minutes, something like that. And then just poof, they're gone. And we're like, okay. They were just kind of a silvery white, and I'm like, all right, that's a little odd, gone. That was it. Didn't see him. And that was not the last time that we've encountered the lights in the woods. And I can't say
Marianne, would you consider those orbs, what people talk about as orbs?
I think they are. I've heard people call them fairy lights, orbs, that's not the last time that we've experienced them. We've experienced them in different places, different sizes. It's just something that happens in the woods.
That is so weird.
And we just so happen to be looking for Bigfoot when they happen.
And see, how do you explain something like that to somebody? And I mean, you hear it more and more and more with encounters.
I don't know how to explain that. I used to, she's passed away now, but a good friend of mine, she was a psychic medium. And she used to take me, and we would drive the back roads, right, looking for orbs. And she always said that they were spirits. Now, I don't know. That's just what she said. I don't know what they are. I've had people tell me that they think it's something that, the tectonic plates and the shifting of the earth causes a certain amount of energy. And they think, when those things pop up, it's like energy that's being released. So, I mean, I don't know what they are. I've seen them multiple places, multiple times. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's all conjecture and speculation at this point with, the whole gamut you know.
Absolutely.
Right. Right.
You're very right, Tiffany. Do you believe there's a connection between orbs and Bigfoot, Marianne?
I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know if it's orbs and Bigfoot or if it's just because you're in the woods at night. I don't know. I just honestly, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you on that one because I really don't have an answer. I just know it's something that's, huh?
Yeah. It's at a point now where you hear about it so much. I mean, can it be a coincidence?
I don't know. Is it just simply because you're in the woods that you see them? Is it necessarily we just so happen to be out there Bigfooting when we see these things? So I don't know. I've never seen Bigfoot turn into an orb, or I've never seen Bigfoot come out of an orb. I've seen an orb when we're Bigfooting is all I can say. And and multiple times. Because we were in Tennessee, no, Kentucky. We were in Kentucky one year, and we were on private property. And our group split into two smaller groups. And there was actually an old private family cemetery, and the trail went past it. So what we did, we split into two groups, and one of the groups took off walking down the trail. The second group waited a little bit, and then they started to go down the trail. So when both groups get to the end of the trail, we've met up, we're all standing there talking, and we are talking about getting ready to start back because we hadn't really had anything happen. And we see this light that's coming down the trail, and it looks like somebody's headlamp because it's bouncing, as it's going. And there was a little dip down that you couldn't see part of the dip, and then it started back up the hill, and that's right where we were at. So we see the light, we're thinking, okay, somebody's coming to get us, maybe something's happened, so we kept waiting for this person to emerge out of the dip, and they never did. So at that point we started back, and we're looking, and there's nothing. But there's like 10 of us that saw it coming down the trail.
The lights just fascinate me.
Yeah.
And perhaps there's more being seen as far as the lights go because more people are getting out into the woods, or more people are doing these expeditions. So they're getting out into nature, and they're experiencing the things of nature.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's like it could be a very natural thing that we just never have experienced. But, and it's not lightning bugs. I mean, these are always bigger, and, lightning bugs flash, and these things always stay solid, and they're like quarter to ping pong ball size if you're up close to it. Now, the one that was coming down the trail at us, the headlamp, it looked more like maybe softball size. So I haven't seen anything bigger than like a softball, but I've seen the lights in Missouri. I've seen them in Tennessee. I've seen them in Kentucky. So we've seen them in a few different places.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of the lights. I've experienced a couple of things that maybe could be, but I don't want to, make that leap. But let's continue on this path of other well or more reported activities like smells. On any of the expeditions that you have either led or been on, has anyone reported any smells?
I have not had anybody ever tell me that they've had anything, because you hear that it's quite the pungent smell.
Yeah.
Now, we have gotten so what makes this, what I'm going to tell you, what kind of makes it weird is, as well as I do, when you run into a skunk, that is a pungent smell that stays, you just don't get rid of it, right? It's there. So one night on an expedition, we kept getting just the faintest whiff of it. Like it was in the area, but then it wouldn't be. And it was like, that is the weirdest thing. You know, the wind really wasn't blowing, and you just get this little kind of skunky-esque smell. And it was like, okay, you can't say it wasn't a skunk, but it was just really odd because skunk is usually very pungent and it's there, and you know, you know when you've ran into it. This just didn't do that. Now we did have, and this was again in Kentucky, and it was the same night that we'd had the light. We were walking back to camp, and there was a limb that was thrown out of the woods at my husband and another gentleman. And as that was happening, I'm on the opposite side of the road. And as that is being thrown and landing next to him, there was this extremely sweet smell that hit. And it was like, oh my gosh, it was like somebody had walked into a bed of flowers and rolled and just had released all of that. And it's night, you know, so we can't see. So the next day we had driven out, and when we got in that area, that was a mowed field. There wasn't anything out there. No flowers. The guy had mowed it a week or so ahead of time. So it's like we've encountered a really sweet smell, but that was happening when we had other activity. But that's about the only smells, you know, we just haven't ever really encountered anything bad.
Well, before we move on to the next one, let me thank Cindy Bailey for the super sticker. Thank you, ma'am, so very much. You are awesome. You are great. Thank you very much. I believe she's one of yours, right, Marianne?
She is one of my crazy cook ladies.
Awesome. We are glad to have you, Cindy. I hope that you will come back. But moving on to some of the more reported things. You know, you just covered smells, but what about like having things thrown at you, like rocks, acorns, things like that?
We've had sticks thrown at us. We've had small little pebbles thrown at us. I was trying to think if we had anything else thrown at us. I think that's about it. Like I said, we've had that stick, small, and it's just small little stuff, you know, nothing real major ever thrown at us too much. We had, so you guys have been talking about the canoe, you know, and sending a canoe down the river. It's funny that you guys talk about that because in our spring expedition, we had some people do a night float down the river. We were staying on the river, and they did a night float. And they believed that they had a big rock chunked at them while they were floating. They saw a lot of wildlife, and they were trying to be real quiet, not, you know, just float down the river and just observe. And they thought that they had a whoop, which we had already had a couple of those in the area. And they're pretty sure that they had a large rock thrown at them as they were floating down the river. So.
Yeah, you're talking about something that Brian and I have been discussing on that Bigfoot podcast. It all started from a listener that emailed in that talked about it. But yeah, I'm really interested in seeing if someone has done something like that. So,
well, we've been talking about doing, like, next spring, trying to do a larger night float, you know, with several people, because we've got a really good area to do it in. And the area that we were in, we were having activity. So, you know, we were thinking, well, maybe next year we'll, on the spring expedition, we'll do a night float down the river and see what we get.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you about this. This is something that I have experienced a few times. And Tiffany recently brought it up in the last episode. She talked about it with the Squatch Watcher guys. Metallic sounds. I don't know what to make of it. There's one area, one research area that my group, Manimal Research, has. It's the one place that I've had my sighting. I believe a sighting. It was a nighttime sighting with a thermal. But there's been like 3 different times I've heard this metallic sound. It sounded like metal. And the image that popped into my head every time when I heard it was this old rusty swing, like swing set, like pushing your kid on an old rusty swing set. That's what
Mm-hmm.
it sounded like to me. But we're in the middle of the woods. There's nothing metal. Everything's wood. I mean, other than cars, there's no metal. And we're walking down this trail at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and we're hearing this metal sound. And we've had several people on the show talk about hearing that. Has anyone ever reported that with you?
I haven't had anything like that. We have had a lot of odd sounds, and usually, I mean, we at times we can be really far out in the woods. I personally have never heard, anything metal. Now, last year we did incur, so it's like I said, it's on private property, and there's some old farm equipment there. And in the middle of the night, one of the groups that were camping said it sounded like somebody was standing over next to that old metal equipment, beating on it with a pipe. Now, this is in the middle of the night. They was just this tink, tink, tink type thing going on. So, it's like, okay, what would be doing that in the middle of the night? And
Right.
yeah, I mean, I've heard, different people talk on podcasts about hearing those metallic sounds. That's about the only thing personally. I haven't in had anything like that happen, but I have heard of, like you said, I've heard you talk about it and other people talk about it.
Well, and if you watch the NC Squatch Watchers lives, there are on occasion times where David will be like, do you hear that? And that's what he will describe. It's like somebody's banging on something metal, or, we didn't get into that in the show. But it was an agreed, yes, we've heard that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, can they mimic these sounds? I know that they can mimic animals, but could they really do like the sound of a car door closing or the rusty metal sound? I don't know.
I think they'd have to. We're hearing this out at night in the middle of nowhere. That's what people are talking about, is they're in the middle of nowhere and they're hearing the metal sounds or the car doors or things like that. It's like they have to be mimicking things they've heard. I mean, what else would it be at that point?
Now, Marianne, have you guys ever tried any call blasting on your investigation?
We have not. And I kind of implemented this spring. I told them, I said, I don't want a lot of calling, because you know what? We don't know what that means. We really don't. Are we inviting them to dinner? I mean, I think more than likely it's a, that's a location type thing, but we just don't know for sure. So we tried this spring when we had our expedition to be a little more quiet about it, because guess what? They know you're there. There's no sneaking up on them. Just not going to happen. So, it's like, and when we're doing those calls, they know it's us, I mean, for the most part, they know it's, us hairless little apes running around that are being stupid out there in the woods. So we tried not to do a lot of that. And if we did it, it was like one and done, or a tree knock and it was done. We tried to go in and be a little more quiet about it, and just, if they're interested, they're gonna come to you. They know you're there. They just do. And we had them come in the night before the expedition even started. They were outside of our camp. We had eye shine. We could see them. And the gentleman, we found out, it was really funny. We didn't tell the people of the campground that we were in what we were doing. They thought we were bird watchers. And so when we got there, the gentleman that was kind of like the campground custodian, I guess is what you want to call him, groundskeeper, whatever. He saw somebody's shirt and he's like, I hear those things every morning. And we were like, what? Excuse me? He's like, yeah, about 4:30 in the morning, those things are whooping and hollering. He goes, they do it every day. So we didn't even know that. He's telling us that. We're like, okay. And so, yeah, we had some odd sounds, and, we had them in the camp, right around the camp, that kind of stuff. So yeah, they're there. You don't have to go out and make a whole lot of noise.
Marianne, you just mimicked what I've said so many times. If you want to have an encounter, just go camping. Just be yourself. If they are in the area, they're going to come to you. That's it.
Yes.
You're never, ever, 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 ever going to sneak up on one. It's just not going to happen.
No. Well, that's
because you're.
Yeah, that's what we talked about. Yeah, that's what we talked about. We're energy, frequency, and vibration.
Yeah, and you're walking into their area too. Their home. You're going to know when somebody walks into your house, right?
Yep.
So yeah, they know you're there.
All these shows, and I'm the same as everybody. I enjoy watching them. Finding Bigfoot is they're responsible for just a whole new era of Bigfoot interest. So Finding Bigfoot, Expedition Bigfoot, I enjoy watching it, but you're never going to sneak up on one. They know when you're coming. They know that you're out there. I don't see a whole lot of point. And that's why my group, Manimal Research, we don't do night hikes. That's what we used to call them. When I first started in 2019, we would plan out our night hikes. We would go out tromping through the woods at 1 o'clock in the morning, trying to be stealthy and, fucking Navy SEALs, which we weren't. We are not. You're never going to sneak up on one. It's not going to happen. So just go camping. Go to a remote location where it's just you, no one for miles around. If you can find a spot like that, sit around the campfire.
Well, and where we were at, we weren't even in a remote location. I mean, we were in a campground and literally camped right next to the river, and they were coming into the campground. We didn't have to leave if we didn't want to, but, and it was a new area for us, but they were all over the place. I mean, we still went out. We go out at night, but we're not trying to be stealthy. We just go out, we walk along, try different things. We have our night vision, that kind of stuff. And,
I mean, don't get me
we
wrong.
thought
there is a huge difference. If you want to go out at night and go to a spot or a location, that's fine. That's what we did on the BFRO expedition. But we weren't trying to, okay, be quiet. Let's sneak around this corner. Okay, y'all be quiet.
No.
We weren't doing that shit because it's not.
No, it's not.
So, I mean, I just think be yourself. Go out there with your friends. Have a good time. And I've talked about this many times. We have a FLIR that we use. Have somebody stand up from around the campfire and just walk around, shooting that flare
Mhm.
on the wood
Yep.
line around you. Just slowly shine a flashlight every once in a while. Look for some eye shine.
Yep.
That's what you do, and
Yep.
you're going to be more successful that way than walking out in the woods and looking for them, in my opinion.
Yep.
Well, they're
Well, we
naturally, they're
like
going
to
to be curious like we are, I
Yeah.
would think.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's like they're curious and they will come in to see what you're doing. And this area that we were in this spring is it's a campground they do a lot of float trips during the summer. Well, we had came in before their float season started. So we had the whole campground to ourselves. And so we're there early. And I think they're used to people being in that campground. And so we're there early. So it's like, okay, we've got, there's food. I think they raid the trash cans down there type thing. They're right on the water. They can move around because you've got that water sound going constantly that, gives them a little bit, they can get around because that water sound dulls all the other noises, and where we were at, it's like I said, it's down on a river bottom. So they can sit on the side of the hill and watch you all day, all night, whatever they want to do, because you can't see them up there. And it's just
great stuff.
You're not ever going to sneak up on one. So quit trying.
Exactly. All right. Let's get through some of these questions. Rapid fire, real quick.
All right.
Questions and comments first before we get to the question. I know this was last week, but thank you, Paranormal Cryptids Biblical Realm with Jimmy. Thank you so much for becoming a member last week, sir. I appreciate that. All right. Miss Naoma Finn is asking, by primitive camping, does that mean you can't drive in either? I can't sleep on the ground, but I make a bed in the back of my SUV. So she's talking about the camp out that you're doing. Can you drive in and sleep in your car?
Yes, you can drive in. Cars are a little iffy. It's a very rough road, and there is a place where we go through a creek. So the more clearance you have, the better it is. And by primitive, I mean there's no electricity. I try to bring in porta potties. Everybody has tents, or air mattresses or whatever they want to do. It's not an area we can bring campers into. But we drive right into the field and you can put your vehicle right where you want to camp.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Miss Naoma Finn asking, is there a fee for the expeditions?
Is she talking about the BFRO expeditions or the camp out? Because there is a fee for both. The fee for the BFRO is different state to state. You just have to reach out in whatever state it is you're wanting to go. Those expedition fees are different per state. And yes, there is a fee on our camp out also.
Okay. All right. And Blue Crossroads is asking, is there a contact email for your conference? He's interested in being a vendor next year.
A vendor? You can go to Ozark Mountain Bigfoot Conference on Facebook and PM us, and we will send you the information to reach out to the lady that's doing all the vendors for us.
Awesome. My good buddy and friend Troy I thought I popped it up. There it is asking, how many states have you had encounters in?
Missouri, Oklahoma, Kentucky, Tennessee.
Wow.
Yeah.
Missouri, Oklahoma,
so
Kentucky,
4.
Tennessee. So that's 4.
Mm-hmm.
What part of Tennessee, Marianne?
What was the other one? We were in Gatlinburg in that area.
Oh, nice. In my area.
Yeah. Because we were down there last summer for the
conference.
Completely blank. The conference, that's it.
Were you with
Past my
Marty?
bedtime. Come on. Yeah. Marty and I actually met down there last year. A friend of ours put us together, and he was like, "Oh Lord, I may have broke the world by putting you two together." But that's where we actually first met. And then from that, Marty came to the conference, my conference and camp out. And she's going to be back this year for the conference and camp out.
Yeah, that's where I met Marty and had a
Yeah.
picture made with her. And I didn't mention it, but Marty was supposed to be on with us tonight. And when I say Marty, it's Nana Boss. She
Yes.
has
Nona
her
Boss.
own channel on YouTube, and I was on with you two ladies about a month or so ago.
Yes.
Had a great time
Yes.
hanging out with you guys. So unfortunately, she wasn't. She was feeling a little bit under the weather tonight, so she wasn't able to make it.
Yeah.
But we're gonna try to get her back on. All right, next question comes from Mr. Tiffany. When you had your Class A sighting, what was your feeling in that moment? Like excitement, fear, etc.
I was excited. I guess there's something wrong with me because I'm not afraid of them. So I guess I don't know. Maybe some, everything's not firing quite right. I'm really bad to take off in directions. The guys are like, "Would you stop running off after things?" I'm like, "Yeah, but you're not going to get to see it if you don't." No, I wasn't scared. I really wanted to stay there longer, and they wouldn't let me. I've only had a couple of times when I was scared, and I never saw anything. It was just more of all of a sudden you just have that sense of dread.
Yeah.
But anytime that we've ever had anything happen, I've never really been afraid of it. So I don't know. I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
Yeah. All right. Troy again asks, are Bigfoot attracted to smells of cooking, in your opinion?
Oh, of course. Yes.
I think so.
I think so. Because we have had times where we have just went out and taken a skillet and built a fire and cooked bacon, just trying to pull them in, just to see what would happen.
I mean, Bobo from Finding Bigfoot, that's one of the most memorable things. My dad and I joke about it all the time because Bobo went out camping by himself and said Bigfoot loved bacon. He was just frying bacon and eating it. I'm like, yeah, dude just wants an excuse to make some bacon. Everybody loves bacon.
Bacon's great, but yeah, we have done that before, So I hear about Troy all the time. I expect Troy to come to Missouri with Wayne.
That would be awesome. I would love. Troy is my boy. Troy, I'm gonna brag on you real quick, Troy. I don't know how much of this you want me to share, but she opened the door, so I'm going to. Troy is one of the coolest guys I've ever met in my entire life. His wife had a stroke several years ago. She is not able to take care of herself. He has dedicated his life to providing for his wife. And I cannot
that's great.
commend him enough. He is such an amazing dude. I'm going to tear up here a little bit, and I don't mean to, but just the sacrifices that Troy has made for the woman that he loves. And I don't know. I don't know what to say. Troy and I got to hang out at the LBL for a couple of days, but he doesn't get a lot of time away because he has to be there for his wife.
Right.
He has to find someone. If he's going to be away, he has to find someone that can sit with her. So coming to Missouri might be a hard thing for him, but it's awesome that you invited him. And I would absolutely love for Troy to come out there with us. But I'm bragging on you, buddy. And I hope that it's okay. Hope it's okay that I shared all that. And speaking of Troy, he asks, have you ever seen Foxfire? I don't know what
I
Foxfire is.
have not. I have not. Now we have something here in Missouri they call the spook light. Now that might be similar to Foxfire. I'm not real sure. The spook light here in Missouri, it is something that comes up. It's just a light. They don't know what it's caused from. And, it'll come up, it dances around, it'll split in two. Sometimes it's bigger, sometimes it's smaller. It'll come toward the car, it'll go away from the car. When you drive toward it, it's gone. So we do have that. I have seen that multiple times, but that may be, what he's referring to. In other places, they may call it something different.
Okay. Ristel, another great friend of mine, big follower of the show, asks Mary Ann, did you guys get any casts from last year's camp out when Brandy saw one next to the tent?
We did not, because we were in a field. It was like a hay field. So, the substrate was not real great conditions. Now, there were compressions because there was a storm the night before. And when this thing had walked through the areas that weren't mowed, we did have compression tracks where all that grass was pressed down. But there wasn't anything that we could cast.
Okay. All right. That does it for the questions. Tiffany, you got anything?
Not that I can think of. Sorry, I had to unmute myself. But Ristel and Troy both. Foxfire is a fungus. And Troy said it glows in different colors and grows like a mushroom. That's what Foxfire is.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. Now, we have what they call lichen that will, when we're walking on the roads after rain, it glows, and it is a fungus. Now, I've seen that, but it's just like real small, and it just glows just for a little while after a rain.
Okay. All right. Mary Ann, take however long you want to and tell everybody about anything you have coming up. We know about the conference. You can talk about it, the camp out, anything else that you would like to promote.
Okay. So if you all are interested in the conference, and this is just the conference itself, you can go on to eventbrite.com and get your tickets there. And that gets you the day of the conference. Now, if you are interested in the conference and the camp out with all of us, then you need to go over to Ozark Mountain Bigfoot Conference page on Facebook and do a message through that. That will come to me, and we can get it, give you more details, answer any questions you've got and take care of things that way. Like I said, right now I'm about halfway filled up on that camp out, and it will probably in the next 2 weeks fill up. So if that's something that you guys think you want to do, you better jump on it. The next thing that I have coming up after that is we have a BFRO expedition in October that we're doing. It is the 10th through the 13th. You can go to it's bfro.net. You have to go through there and sign up through there to come to the BFRO conferences. Conferences, campouts, expeditions, whatever. Whatever it is.
And guys, the
and then next year.
Yeah, I was just gonna say real quick, Marianne, the camp out that you're doing this year after the conference is where I will be speaking at, and I hope that you guys can come out because I would love to meet and get to hang out with you. But I didn't mean to interrupt you, Marianne. Go ahead.
Oh, no, you're fine. I was just saying next year, we're going to work on trying to have several more through the BFRO and, all those good things that we're doing and just trying to build and grow and share and teach. And, build a community here that shares, all
Right.
their stuff, and that's easier said than done.
Absolutely. Well, Marianne, I can say for myself that it really has been a pleasure getting to know you and speaking with you a little bit, and all the preparations and the talking that you and I have done, uh in preparation of the conference that's coming up. And it's been a great pleasure getting to know you. And I know a couple of people that have spoken highly of you. So I'm very, very glad to get you to come on, to have gotten to get you to come on and share some of your experiences. And I'm very appreciative that you did.
Well, thank you. I'm a big fan of you because, like I've told you before, I love my Wayne rants. I tell you what, I get tickled at those. Those are the best thing. And I have picked up a couple of sayings that, have come from you. And I can't listen to that Bigfoot podcast at work anymore because I'm a massage therapist and it's kind of frowned upon when you get to giggling in your massage, right? So, I can't be listening to it because I get tickled sometimes of the things that go on. So I have to do other ones. But yeah, I love me some Wayne rants. That's the best thing. I get tickled, and you say things that I'm thinking, I'm like, oh my God, he just said exactly what I was thinking.
Wow.
So
Well,
it's great.
The Wayne rants over on that Bigfoot podcast are not planned. They just that's something Brian and I set out to do. When we were talking about putting that Bigfoot podcast together, we want it to be raw. We want it to just be emotion and our opinions. And when I start, that's just me. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
getting
it's great.
a dose of me. I can't say anything else. But yeah, thank you, ma'am. You're so awesome. I cannot wait to get to meet you in person, and get to hang out with everybody in September coming up.
I same here. Exactly.
All right, ma'am. You enjoy the rest of your evening, and you and I will talk soon. Thank you
All
again.
right. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. How good
Wow,
was that?
I'm really big. I wasn't ready for my face all up in my face.
Why not? Oh, let's do it again.
It was not. You do you, boo. Don't.
There you go. Why are you so pink?
I don't know why I'm so pink. You're the one that just came back from Florida and hanging out on the beach and by the pool and all sunburnt. And I guess this is just like, this is just the empathy of me. Just
Yeah,
carry
y'all
over the
can't really see it here, but I look like a kind of a raccoon because I'm white around my eyes because my dumbass wore my sunglasses in the pool most of the time.
That's funny. You'll have to go out and just, tan your face.
Yeah.
But I really I don't know why I'm pink. I mean, it doesn't look as bad as it did before the show started. So I don't know.
Real quick before we get out of here, a big, big thank you to Mike Wolf, who I know is working right now because he and I were texting a little while ago. But he did hop on during the chat. But if he watches this later, I want him to see that brought that up again. So I wanted to show that. Mike sent that to me, and it is awesome. It's going to look great in the new studio once I get it going. But thank you, Mike, very, very much. I've already thanked him personally, but I wanted to show off his work again.
Yes, it is. It's an amazing piece. You and I were talking about that before the show. It's really awesome.
We have so many talented members, and it is not me. So
you're funny.
all right, you got anything before we get out of here, ma'am?
I don't. Who do we have coming on Tuesday? I usually have this memorized before the show.
Well, I've already built
James
that.
from the Michigan Aboriginal Project.
Yeah, Brian had him on.
Mhm.
Shared a lot of his audio stuff. So he is going to be on. Should be a good show this Tuesday.
Yes, absolutely. We
We
have
will see
lots
you
of good
then.
people coming on. Yes.
See you at 8 o'clock on Tuesday. Until then, y'all take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Bye.
Bye.